Anxiety ruined my business, and honestly, part of my life too. In 2021, I tried realizing my dream, and that was to have a professional wrestling company. Ever since I was a child, at the age of 12, I wanted to become a professional wrestler, and that was my absolute dream. In 2021, I tried to start a professional wrestling company, and I think for that entire year, I didn't sleep at all. During that time, I was checked into the emergency room more than a dozen times, thinking that I was having a heart attack. And this is something that I don't think a lot of people talk about, is the mental health side of trying to be an entrepreneur. So I hope that this video will reach out to somebody and help them when they're going through something similar, because this is something that I wish was there when I was starting out and going on this venture. Now, at this point, I already had my production company. If you follow the channel, you see that thankfully I reached a level of success with my production company. And actually, 2021 was the first year that, and actually 2020 was the first year that I reached six figures with my production company. And foolishly, I thought that that would be a good time. Like, I'm done. I made it. This is it. Let's try to pursue my passion and take some of the savings I have from this and start another business, which was my wrestling company. Well, for the entire year, I don't think I slept at all. I would work on a production job, my normal 6, 8, 10-hour day, and then I would get home, and me and my partner and some other friends who were helping get this off the ground would be on the phone till 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, just going back and forth. What do we need to do to get the show ready? Or who's going to win this match, and what's the storyline going to be, and what moving parts, and I have to handle the production, and I have to do this, and we got to arrange getting the ring there. We have to find a venue that we're going to book it to. We have to figure out how we're going to sell tickets and do this and do that. And I'm sure if you are an entrepreneur or business owner or anything, a freelancer, you've gone through this before. And it took its toll on me. I don't know what else to say about it. It was devastating, that lack of sleep combined with the burden and then not realizing how big of a financial commitment I was getting myself into, that I started having feelings that I never had before. I never experienced stress or anxiety, or I never had a panic attack before. I didn't know what any of that was. And I remember our debut show was February 20th, 2021. It was called GSW Inception, GSW. And the night before the show, I wake up 2 or 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, and cold sweats, I don't know what's going on, and then just chest pain. And I just remember, oh my God, I'm having a heart attack. My girlfriend's next to me, my now wife, and I wake her up. Honey, I got to go to the emergency room. I don't know what's going on. I think I'm having a heart attack. And we get me over to the emergency room, and my blood pressure's through the roof. It's 180 over 130, something astronomically high. And, the doctors and nurses are freaking out. And I'm 26 or just turned 27 at the time. And they said, no, you're not having a heart attack. I don't know what to tell you. Go follow up with your doctor. So I see my doctor, and she listens to my heart. It sounds okay, and go get testing. So I signed up for, through a heart specialty doctor, a cardiologist. I went through the whole series of tests. They did the EKG, the stress test. They had the echocardiogram. They did all of those to test my heart and see if everything was okay. And there was nothing wrong with my heart, thank God. But it was weird. After that first experience, I started very frequently, just all the time, I started to develop this weird, I don't want to call it a twitch, but I would get a spasm in my chest. And every time I just, freak out. And I don't know, this never happened before. I just started reacting strangely, and it would always be in my head. As soon as a spasm hit, I would just come over and I'd start rubbing my chest. And that was I'm trying to calm myself down, but I can feel my heart starting to race. I can feel my mind starting to race. And this was starting to affect all aspects of my life, because now I'm like constantly on edge all the time. So I would be a little snippier towards my friends and family. And, I'm on work or I'm at work on set, and I knew that I had to maintain a level of professionalism. And thankfully, I don't think it translated to the point where clients noticed. I don't think I was snippy with them. I think I was able to keep it under control, but just always being in that level of like fear or panic was really taking its toll on me. And nobody said that it was mental. They just said maybe it's, I think, costochondritis or something. There's like some irritation in like the chest cavity something, or like something with acid reflux, which I did have acid reflux. So they were going through all these different medical things that it could be, but nobody was saying, hey, you're going through this major task of trying to get something new started when you already have another business and all the life stress is going on. My father was sick recently before that, and trying to help him whenever I could. Nobody thought that it was just stress related. And this went on for the near year that we ran GSW. And I noticed I started making bad decisions because I didn't want to work harder, or I just wanted to like take something off of my plate and help me. So, for instance, our show for the very first show we had, I think the budget was like $12,000, somewhere around there. The whole cost, from the ring to the production to the talent, everything. And then the second show, the second big show, we leveled up huge from a production standpoint. And I remember we didn't have a lot of help that day. So it was literally like my wife and I and one friend who showed up. And we had to build all the trusses, and we hung pipe and drape to try to black out the VFW hall to make it look as good as we could. And I mean, we went almost the entire night into the day of the show trying to get ready so that way we could put on the masterpiece that we were really trying to put on. And of course, this increased the budget. I think that show was about $19,000 and change to put on. And then after that, the next show we did, I was so overwhelmed. I was in the emergency room again, and same thing, chest pains, heart attack. I don't know what's going on, and I'm just freaking out all the time. And I'm like, all right, I need to calm down during the show. And my friends are like, well, you got to try pot. So I tried smoking pot, and I made it worse. And I tried drinking, and I tried, exercise. I tried everything, and it just didn't seem like anything was working. And because of that, and I don't want to blame it, but just a reaction that my mind was having was, I need to figure out a way to not have to go through that level of stress again. How do I avoid this? And so what I did was I ended up spending more money than I could afford to spend to try and reduce the amount of physical work that I would have to do so I could focus more on the show and the production, and just make sure that like my core duties were taken care of. And that extra amount that we spent on this arena and all of this other stuff and trying to fly in better talent and do this, if I was looking back and thinking about it clearly, I would have realized that would have been the nail in the coffin. And if I just went with a normal budget, which was like $12,000 like we had on the first show, maybe even the second show, we would have had another chance. And another chance could have been our opportunity to continue growing, to sell more tickets, and maybe have a show even after that. But instead, in that weekend, I spent like $40-something thousand to try and get this show off, just because I couldn't handle it. And that was the truth. And that crippled me financially. Like 25, 30,000 of it had to go on high interest credit cards. This obviously is not smart decision making, especially from an entrepreneur. My production company is still doing okay, but it cannot sustain that level of debt. Like most people, I think, that are human can't sustain that kind of spending at the stage that they're at. Like I barely made $100,000, and here I am, blew all my savings, blew every investment I had. There's no retirement accounts. I blew everything, all of them, and maxed out every credit card that they would give me. Obviously, it affected my credit score just to try and pull off this weekend, because I was betting the farm that that was going to be what took us off. Like some network would find us and that would be it. That's my only hope at this point. But because of that state of mind and that level of stress, I wasn't able to think clearly. And this is multiple ER trips for the same thing, thinking I'm having a heart attack. You know, the night before the show, same thing. It was the night before every show. And then a couple times after that. Finally, one of the emergency room doctors, I had a second time. So they knew I was already there. And they had already dismissed me and said that my heart was fine. And he said, "What's going on? Are you okay? Like, is there anything going on personally?" And I vented a little bit, and he said, I think this is stress related. And I think, you know, mentally, I don't know, you know, talk to your primary doctor. Maybe you should speak to a therapist or something. And my primary just said, "I'll give you Xanax. That's it." And I really am not a medication person if I could try to avoid it. Like I was willing to try pot because I think that that's more like herbal or medicinal. So I was, or natural. And, you know, the alcohol was stupid. But I really didn't want to take Xanax because I knew that that was almost like admitting that my mental health was defeating me. And I didn't want to believe that. So I told them no. And at least the acknowledgement, knowing that that's what it was and it wasn't my heart, it didn't cure the problem. It didn't solve it. But what it allowed me to do was calm myself down faster. So I didn't stay in that elevated like stress response longer. So, you know, if I would literally be that bad for so long that I had to go to the emergency room and I'm still freaking out through most of that process, hours and hours and hours, now maybe I could calm myself down in 15 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that. And that was okay for me. And it's weird to say, but, you know, looking back at it, it's the repetition of having gone through it so many times and then realizing that, okay, this is my mind. My mind is working against me. I was able to start, I don't know if building up a tolerance is the right word or the right way to say it, but it certainly helped make me realize that this is something that I can control and I could take control of it. So I think I don't want to tell anybody who's watching this, if you're going through the same thing, to just not, you know, consult a therapist or don't take Xanax. I don't want to say that because people respond differently. But I do believe that as much of this that we can fix ourselves without external help, the stronger that we're going to become as people. And that certainly helped me so much because now I think I've become a stronger person because of it, that I was able to go through that. And yes, I mean, I couldn't even begin to describe in words what that feeling was like because I've never had a heart attack. I don't know what it actually feels like, but the actual every fiber of my being believed that that was what's happening right now. And the ultimate fear that I've had since I was a child was an early death, that I wanted to go out and conquer the world before I died and leave something and my legacy or something behind. And the idea that in those moments, I thought that that was going to be taken away. I don't know how to describe the fear that was associated with that. And ultimately, it took away the dream that I was trying to achieve, which was putting on my wrestling company. That was the greatest time of my life, and it was the best lessons that I have ever learned in my life. I've gotten to experience things that I could not even describe in words. The joy, the happiness, the stories that we were able to tell, the people we were able to meet and connect with, and the lives that we were able to have a lasting impact on. Like, even though we were small, we ran 8 shows in the course of a year. and continued our online show that we taped a little bit into the following year, just barely. It made it till January. People still to this day remember the shows that we had, and some of the wrestlers that we had from the matches that we put on and booked for them got booked in bigger places. So even though it was so minute in that world of professional wrestling, I still feel like there was some impact that it had. And that is something I'll keep with me forever. So it was still the greatest experience of my life. But the damage that was done during that time, catastrophic. Now, I don't know if you could see the gray hairs here. I'm blessed in life that my hair is a lighter color. And because of that, it hides the grays a little better. But any gray that you see in my hair has been there since sometime in 2021. And I don't think I've gotten any more since that. But in all seriousness, if you're going through something like this, I hope that hearing somebody else having gone through this and now being on the other side, but I don't know if I could say it'll never happen again, but I can say that now I'm better equipped to deal with it. And I didn't have to take prescription medication, and I didn't have to talk to a therapist. I was able to overcome it myself. But in the moment, at the time, it feels like the entire world is collapsing, and I totally understand that. But I wanted to make this video to let you know that you are not alone, that there are other people who have gone through this, and if you just keep pushing forward, you will get through this. The most important thing, though, at least for me looking back, and the thing I wish I had, was clarity. And that is the most difficult thing. So if you have someone in your life who is like a voice of reason, that's the person that you want to run your ideas off of, because you might be inadvertently in self-destruct mode. And to me, looking back, it almost seems like I was the one who was trying to destroy my own dream with the decisions I made, financially and from a responsibility standpoint. It seemed like I was trying to ruin my own dream. And obviously, that's the last thing I wanted to happen. So if you don't have anybody that you could speak to, you can leave a comment, you can DM me, you can reach out to me. I'd be happy to try to talk to you and, just let you know that you're not alone in this. There's countless people out there who have been through this. And the more that I've gotten to network after this and meet new people and talk to other business owners and people like that, I realize that it's common. I don't know if it's had the same level of effect on people's health as it has to me, but a lot of people have gone through this, and it's okay. And we're here for you. We should all be helping each other and, telling our stories like this, because how else are we going to know that it's okay? I think now more than ever, there's such a lack of a sense of community. I barely know my neighbors anymore. My friends live an hour away, 2 hours away in a different state, and you have less people that you could talk to. Yeah, you have social media and stuff, but what, you're going to DM somebody, hey, dude, I think I'm having a heart attack right now. That's not normal, I don't think. So, I really think that this is something that needs to be shared. And the more people that could talk about it, the more that people could see this, maybe even before you start your entrepreneurial journey, you could think about your load management. Like, hey, if I'm looking back now, I would not have started the company at the time, or I would have really been adamant about controlling the budget in some way that was sustainable for me with that income. But I didn't know anything about money at the time. And after I went through all of that, and after I tried making my feature film and buying my first fancy car or whatever, that's when I realized I don't know nothing about money at all. And I was never taught it in school, and that's another problem for another video. But that lack of knowledge really, really, really hurt. And that hit hard. And here's a fun fact. 5 weeks after the last GSW show, I got married. Do you remember how much debt I had when I got married? I got married to my girlfriend at the time, who was there through the whole thing for me. And she knew the financial situation I was in and still married me, which I am the luckiest man in the world for that. And if she watches, I love you so much, you have no idea. But as a person who believes that the man is the leader of the house and should be the financial provider, how badly did I screw that up? I literally put myself in the absolute worst possible situation I could be in. And all I needed to do was just wait a few more years to continue expanding the company that I already built and not stupidly trying to go and do something else that's going to just take everything away and pull the rug out from under me, all the hard work I did. But that clarity I lacked. I was driven solely on passion, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but just taking a step back and breathing and thinking about it from other avenues, and also really learning and understanding money and finances as best as you can, whatever it is, investing in property and the stock market, or, working with some financial advisor, or whatever you could do, building a second income stream that's not going to tax you as much like we did with our car rental business. That would be such a better foundation before you decide to pour everything into that true passionate business. But again, it was by far the absolute greatest moment of my life that I got to go through that. And even while it was so painful and so stressful, the only thing that really got me through it was the actual event. And after the event, being able to see our stories come to life in the room with a live audience, reacting to what we created, was one of the greatest feelings in the world. Maybe the only thing that would have been better is if I was the one in the ring doing it. But, I digress. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it inspires you to some degree. You're not alone. We're all here for you. If you're going through this, leave a comment down below. Let me know what your struggle was. If you need somebody to talk to, DM me, reach out to me. It's totally fine. I just want to make sure that everybody's okay and tell you a real, true, painful, heartfelt entrepreneurial journey that I've been through, because it's not all gumdrops and ice cream. There is real challenges that you're going to have to go through on this journey. But man, the stories are awesome, right? Like, I can't even begin to tell you. Like, there's a guy in WWE right now, Jacob Fatu, who's like had the best debut you could ever imagine. And he was hanging out with us at our Airbnb before that, and we were hanging out and, talking and drinking and just having a good time. And we got to meet some of the greatest people you could ever imagine that are still friends to this day. And I don't know. It was so cool. So don't be afraid to take chances, but also think about them as clearly as you possibly can. But otherwise, if you want to learn more about the journey that I've been on, the hopefully interesting life I've had, don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and that's all I got. I love you guys. Take care.